Oh my God, Sanya, we are so excited to chat with you because Danny and I just watched the premiere for The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15, and it is jam-packed with juice, with drama, with some fun moments, and with some pretty tense moments, especially for you and your family. How are you feeling now that it's about to be put forth into the Bravo universe?
I'm excited. I am super excited. I really felt like this was like two seasons in one. So
Oh,
much happened with my family, with the girls, with everyone. And I just think it's going to be an awesome season. I feel like last year was kind of a reset, like I was new to the cast, a lot of shakeups, new people. And this year I kind of feel like, I got a lot of skin in the game. I'm building real friendships and it just felt good. I think it's going to be a great season.
Oh, from this premiere, it definitely will be. And I love that I am so happy that you got to do the housewife honor of hosting the first big party that is so chic and looks so good, but of course divulges and turns into utter chaos.
It's like the perfect season opener, right? It's like
Yeah.
you can't make it up. I know. I was really excited because my husband was turning 40 and I was planning him a big bash anyway. And so, the timing just worked out great. And I couldn't have imagined everything that would have happened at the party. I was hoping they'd have been on their best behavior. I mean, I spent $100,000 on the party. But it's like the more you do, the more you spend, is the worse they act.
right. Well, you did say that it kind of felt like your wedding in some ways, and I feel like there's always drama at weddings, so I guess it was to be expected, right?
Yeah, you're right. I might have foreshadowed that. And it did kind of feel like my wedding because like we had so much family come from out of town. I put so much into it and my husband just deserved it. So I wanted it to be really special.
And it's funny because usually wedding fights are over like seating charts or something. This one kicked off with a little DM send, or
Yeah.
one of the 500 fights
Yeah.
was about a little down to the DM moment.
Yeah.
How were you excited for Sheree to have kind of a new man in her life? Because it seems some of the other girls were a little more cautiously optimistic or just cautious about it. What were your thoughts on her
So
range of love?
to be very honest with you, when I first met Martell, I did not know, I didn't watch the show. So I didn't know all the tea and drama. So then once we got into it, I said, ooh, and I went back and watched. And I was like, ooh, now I see. But when I first met him, we actually went to dinner. It was Sheree, Martell, Ross, and I in New York, and they were holding hands. They just seemed like so smitten with each other. I was like loving it. And then I kind of understood everyone's caution around our excitement because boy, does Sheree know how to pick them, I tell you.
Oh, well, I love how you said the fact that he doesn't have like an ankle monitor is definitely an upgrade. But okay, so you got to know Martell a little bit, going to dinner. You didn't really know about his reality show, but once you did your research, how did your perception of him change? Were you like, Sheree, girl, like we gotta talk about this?
Yeah, it did a little bit, obviously, because that was a lot. Like he's been through a lot, and put some girls through a lot. But I do always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And like what I experienced with him, he was great. And I know that I feel like he wants to be better. I think he desires growth. And so, I'm like telling Sheree, you don't want to be like his trial, you know what I mean? Like maybe he should try with somebody else, then come to you. I don't know. But I'm just always like hoping for the best for Sheree because she's so beautiful. She has so much to offer. I'm like,
she is a queen and she deserves a king. And at least Martell looks like a king. When he took his shirt off in the premiere, I was like, okay, I kind of get it. Like, I mean, that kind of
handsome man. He's a handsome man.
The blinders can go on with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because I do love that you two are really forming like a really great bond and connection. Like even in the premiere episode, you guys were having like a lot of lovely moments. So I'm glad she's having great support. And it was curious because when you guys were working out, I was like, are Sanya and Drew about to work? When the doorbell rang, I was like, did Atlanta freeze over?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Because I was even waiting for that moment at the party, but Drew wasn't there. So how are you guys doing right now?
Well, I'm not gonna completely tell you. You gotta watch and see. But there are some good developments in our friendship and our relationship. But I don't want to give away too much. We do have a much needed conversation. And I think that really helps. So I can't wait for people to see, because, a lot happened, and Drew did not own up to a lot that happened last season. And that was a big part of my frustration. So, I'm looking forward to you guys seeing what happens early on in this season.
Do you feel like maybe she just wasn't in a place to own up for some of the potential mistakes she made in your friendship because she was dealing with so much in her marriage? I feel like, especially knowing what we know now about Drew and Ralph, like maybe there was just like a lot brewing in her mind where she wasn't capable of moving forward in your friendship because she was like distracted.
100%. And I do think, 2020 vision is, when you always look back at stuff, you always can see that. And when I look at a lot of moments this season, I can feel that from Drew now, because I'm like, man, I knew they had stuff going on, but I didn't think that they were this close to divorce. So it kind of took me by surprise when they announced that they were getting divorced. And I look back now, I'm like, man, I can see her kind of carrying that weight in a lot of experiences on the show. And I think you guys will see that too.
I know. Well, we're getting a sneak tease of that in the first at your party when Ralph's like, oh, she's home with a lot of family stuff, but open bar.
I
feel like a lot of eyebrows will be raised amongst the Bravo holics watching Ralph come to your party without Drew and then citing a family crisis. Kenya kind of puts it into perspective. It's like, bro, like you're a part of the family crisis.
Family.
What did you think of him coming to Ross's birthday party without Drew?
So, okay, I got to be honest with you. Until I watched it back and actually heard what Kenya said, I thought, because I was pressuring him, I was like, you better come to Ross's party. Like, what's up? Like, because they're really close, like the guys hang out all the time. And I didn't know all that was going on with Drew myself. And so I was like really happy that he came and supported Ross. And then when I watched it back, I was like,
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. It was interesting to see him like wanting to come and support Ross. I mean, that's nice. I love that they have a friendship. How has the divorce sort of impacted the dynamic amongst the two couples?
That's a great question. So, to be very honest, like when I first met Drew a couple weeks before we started filming, the four of us hanging out, it was fun. We had a great time. That didn't last very long, right? Because as soon as we got on the show, things kind of, went left. And so we hadn't really picked back up with the four of us, but the guys had never stopped. Like they kept in touch and they always hung out. So, and now there is no foursome anymore, right? So I'm like, well, damn, we never even got a chance to repair that. So, and even now, Ross was with Ralph just the other day again. So they're still going strong, and Ross is there for Ralph and supporting him. And I'm trying to be there for Drew, but it's a hard time, especially for the kids. I'm heartbroken for their children because they have beautiful kids. And, you hate when something like this happens, especially when the kids are so young.
Yeah, totally. And especially after last season with the whole JoJo adoption situation, it's kind of, I mean, as a viewer and as a fan of Drew and someone who's always rooting for Drew and obviously JoJo, it's almost kind of like a blessing that it didn't go through now that they're not together anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point, because that would be even harder, right? To have gone through all that, had that extremely positive experience, and then for it to just end like this. So yeah, I guess in retrospect, I guess it was for the best.
And speaking of family dramatic moments, I don't know what was going on in your head when you were like, let's have my entire family move in with me, and let's have my brother-in-law work for me. And then I loved that happened, because then in that moment I was like, wait, it's the entire house against you. Yeah, at the tape I was like, wait, can I tap in and help her out? How is that dynamic? What are your thoughts going into the season to watch kind of how all those dynamics play out, and how are they kind of now?
That's such a good question, Danny. And I think sometimes I do live in like fairyland, and I don't think that I am like living like a real life, because like when you say it like that, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like 9 of us living here, then hire your brother-in-law. Yeah, all this is gonna work. This is gonna be perfect. It's like a complete mess. But the thing that I love the most is that we ultimately love each other so much. We can get through anything, but I think it's going to be, interesting to watch the season, because we have some tough moments. We really have some tough moments where my sister just feels like I'm, doing too much and I don't have, boundaries, and I put a lot of pressure on Tyrell, and then of course she feels like she has to speak for him and then Ross and Tyrell, it's just not a good idea.
And I love too you opening up in the first episode to the premiere of you kind of having to not relearn, but kind of remind yourself about how the dynamics play out. Because when you were opening up about back when you were younger, like you were like the kind of not breadwinner, but you were everybody worked for you in that regard, a breadwinner in that sense. So then you're kind of growing up and you're like, do I enter back into that? But how do I still have the boundaries that we've been able to work so hard on? It seems like a really tight rope to walk.
It really is. It really is, because so much has changed in our lives. Like you said, when I was like the Olympic star and everyone worked for me and I was kind of like, the golden child and, everything was around my schedule, I got spoiled to that. And so, now my sister's a mom and she's a wife and she's like, girl, I'm not curling your hair whenever you want. Like I'm not just on your schedule. I'm on my schedule. And I have to get used to that. And then also too, I think the biggest thing too, Danny, is that I have this vision for like what our family should be doing and how, we should be doing things. And that's no longer the vision everyone has. And I think that's been the hardest thing for me to adjust to.
It was really interesting to hear you dig into this on the premiere, because I'm always so fascinated by stories about celebrities who are so heavily involved with their family, like whether it's like management or it's your hairdresser or your assistant. How have you ultimately avoided a level of toxicity that would lead to the sort of like demise of your family? Because even though there are issues and tensions that arise, there is that strong unit and that love that is so evident.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Honestly, I say it's the grace of God, because I don't think any family or anybody is above, things going completely sour. But I think what ultimately we always come back to is our love for each other. And the reason we're doing all these things is because we love each other. And so for me personally, I'm like, look, I love my sister so much. This is how she wants to be my brother. Where he always is the one who, we all go talk to, and he's like, listen, this is her perspective. This is what's going on, but here's what we're going to do. And here's how we can do it as a family. So I definitely think we're blessed from the sense of like having that, just that ultimately so much love for each other that it surpasses everything else.
It's also probably really great to have your family around as you're filming, and you can download them on all the drama and get takes on everything. What did they have any interesting or funny opinions about? Well, let's just talk about some of the feuds like going on in the premiere episode. We have Kandi versus Courtney. Did they have any thoughts and feelings about that? Do you have thoughts and feelings about that? Because it seems like you being the new girl last year, you're welcoming Courtney into the group.
Yeah. So when I met Courtney, I thought she was awesome, seemed like a fun time. I was excited for the dynamics that she would bring to the group. I did not think pull up in there and get on Kandi. I said, I literally was lost for words. And then I don't know if you noticed it, but I had lost my voice leading up to the party. So I could barely talk. And I'm in the argument. I can't get a word in. They ain't trying to hear me. I gotta say, I do respect that Courtney had an issue. Like she had something she wanted to bring up. Do I think she brought it a little bit? I think she could have came in a little bit, a little bit lower, but she came in hot, and she got Kandi when you come in hot. Like Kandi's gonna knock a few bucks.
That's the thing about Kandi, is that Kandi, I feel like it takes a lot to get her activated, but once you get her to that point,
off to the races.
You better watch out, because she's out here talking about, I'm going to headbutt you. Yes. Because you're out here telling people that I'm your friend.
How did we get here, Evan? Right? How did we get here?
Is there maybe something deeper than just Courtney telling people that she's friends with Kandi? Because I feel like I tell people I'm friends with Kandi. Like, I think I'm friends with Kandi.
She's a Taurus. I'm a Taurus. I'm like, oh, we're literally related. Yeah.
That is hilarious. I don't think there was a whole lot deeper. I think what happened is that it just came so out of left field for Kandi. Like I think Kandi went in thinking, we always hear buzzes about, the new girls we're going to meet and stuff. So I think Kandi was open to like, this being a positive experience. And when she felt like she was kind of coming for her, I think it really, threw her for a loop. So I don't think it was anything deeper. I just think it was just the wrong time and the wrong way.
My favorite too in that moment was Marlo, just like she was so excited not to be She's like, oh, this is what Kandi looks like yelling at people, because it's usually me and I can't see it.
Right. No, I thought that was hilarious.
Are they on good terms? Because I feel like I saw.
Well, I mean, Marlo and Kandi in the trailer, Candy's telling Marlo she's gonna choke her out. So she goes from headbutting to choking people out. Like, Candy's on fire.
Yeah, Candy's on fire. And I gotta tell you that when they butt heads, Marlo and Kandi, that was really tough for me. Because those were the two I kind of connected with the most in the off season. I went on vacation with Kandi. Me and Marlo are super close. And I don't care what these girls say. They can say, oh, you can be friends with whoever you want, but they don't mean it. They don't mean it. Like, they want you to pick a side. So it's so frustrating. So that argument was really hard for me. I didn't see that one coming. We know Marlo and Kenya are going to have it out, and we pray that one can be fixed, but I did not see the Marlo Kandi one. And that one was really tough, really, really tough to navigate throughout the season.
Yeah, totally. Well, it seems like Sheree and Kandi, Candy's getting into it with everyone. So Sheree and Kandi, and you're obviously close with Sheree, you're close with Kandi, and it seems like there's just a lot of mess over this, over the Instagram impersonations and the spoofs, and then also clickbait. Like, what goes on between them?
But I loved you being like, oh, I have a reel dropping with Kandi today. FYI, guys, don't be mad at me.
Exactly. Like, make sure you hit the like button. Well, the Kandi Sheree kind of like tension, I feel like it's kind of just in the backdrop. Like, it never feels like it really, gets to a head. They just always seem to have a little bit of something. But the thing about them, which I'm just starting to get this light bulb, is that they both kind of always say how they feel and then move on. You know what I mean? It's like they're very honest with each other. They don't mince words. They say it and then they just keep it pushing. And I think that's actually would be great if everybody could just do that. It's like people hold on to a lot, especially Marlo and Kenya, but with Kandi and Sheree, it's just like they say what they got to say and then keep it pushing. And the next time they're laughing. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, that's the way to do it. One of the things that Kandi is kind of holding in her back pocket, though, is some tea about Martell. She says in the premiere that the streets are telling her that he has another girl in Atlanta. Kenya's out here saying he used to DM her. What do you think of Martell's potential extracurricular activities in Atlanta? Do you think that he was cheating on Sheree?
That's a good question, because I don't think Sheree would, like, they're not putting titles on their relationship, right? So I think that what makes Sheree kind of cool in that moment is like, like, it's not, I'm talking to people too. Like, she's totally unbothered by the news, completely unbothered. And so, I think that they're dating. So I don't think she's, taking it too seriously or offended by any of that stuff. She just like, where are the receipts? Where is the girl? Where is it?
I did laugh when Kenya's like, okay, so here's the DM, and it was blank.
I know. I felt bad for Kenya because I really felt like she was excited to have that receipt and show it.
It was an empty kettle.
It was an empty kettle, yeah.
But I was wondering too, because like we're saying a lot of roads are leading back to Kandi right now. And another, I don't know if feud is going to be the word that is, but her and Todd seem to be really bumping heads a lot, with Todd almost seeming a little more detached or busy for his family. Yeah. And did you kind of pick up on that while filming as well? And do you think that kind of could be an underlying reason for why Kandi might be a little bit more like quick to headbutt someone?
Yeah. I did notice, and you'll see later on in the season that we have another like important conversation about marriage and, her and Todd, and, I'm talking about me and Ross and stuff. And, I certainly feel like there's always, when you have someone who works so much and works so hard in a relationship, and you have someone else like Todd who also aspires to do a lot of great things, that could cause a lot of tension, because it's always like even Todd, and they both agree, like it's always about Kandi. And so I think for him, you know, especially this year, he's kind of like, look, I got some things I want to work on, and they're going to be on the front burner, ma'am, not on the back. So you're gonna have to figure it out. And I'm proud because he does. And I think that's gotta find a way to balance and to compromise. And you're right. I think that she's very emotional this season because of that, because of her trying to figure that out and juggling that. I feel like sometimes she gets, you know, she's really, really emotional and really like kind of a little bit more hot-headed this season than I saw her.
Yeah, I mean, when she was explaining the situation to, I believe it was Kenya and Manetta, the way, you know,
Yeah.
Candy's upset when the voice starts to shake and starts to crack a little bit. So clearly this was really penetrating her
Yeah.
soul. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. I 100% noticed that too.
And it's almost interesting too, while talking about it, you and Candy have similarities in the sense that from young ages, a lot of the people around you kind of were dependent on your success and kind of how much rides on you exceeding well and putting your talent forward and everything. Do you guys ever have conversations about that? Just kind of like, how many decades have we been working, and how many we helped while working? Where's the retirement line?
You know, Candy, I relate to Candy so much. I look up to her. I respect her because I think that it's not easy, especially to transition from one thing to the next. And obviously music and entertainment and television kind of are closer than, you know, some other things that people might transition from. But it's just been really admirable to see how she's done that. And we've had those kind of conversations. And I remember in Portugal, actually, I can't wait for you guys to see, we have at the table a really deep conversation about just what you're talking about, you know, about being the breadwinner and about, you know, when you work and your family depends on you. And I think it's going to be a real eye opener for a lot of people, especially as Candy opens up on that topic. So yeah, we have that conversation. And like I said, I just got a lot of respect for her and how she's handled and managed that for so many years.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Portugal, I can't wait to see what goes down, because we know that the cast trips always get lit in some way. It just feels like fighting internationally is more fun. What can you tease about the trip to Portugal? Also, I've been like thinking about going to Portugal, and I feel like this is my sign to go.
I know. So we need travel tips too.
Yeah, no, Portugal was absolutely beautiful, stunning. The people were great. We had the best time. We did a lot of really fun things. I think that the trip, like you said, it's like the cast trips always give everything, right? Like we have where we're meditating and it's like the most peaceful, and everybody's emotional and crying. And then you have like somebody kicking down the door. Like, I'm like, well, how the hell did we go from like literally in the most zen place on earth to like these fights? And then there was a fight in Portugal that was not in the teas. I was like, that didn't make it.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. So were you
curls?
Were you involved
in that? No.
Gotcha. So you were just watching over here, clutching your pearls. They were bopping, and you could sit back and
yes, there was an epic fight, and it actually starts off camera. I'm giving y'all too much. It starts off camera.
Oh,
and
no.
I didn't think it was gonna make it to camera because I was like, oh, this ain't gonna make it. This is too much. But baby, that next morning. So Portugal, the cast trip is definitely going to deliver. Stay tuned.
Who from your cast do you think you're like, oh, I want to, but can't travel with you again because something about the minute they put their bags down, who turns on the most to be like, why are you yelling at me?
That is another great question. Oh my goodness. So they all crazy in their own right. I mean, every single one of them, something's wrong with them. But who would I don't know. Everybody at a different time. I'm telling you, everybody at a different time. I'm like, you know what? You should have stayed home. Like you should have got left in Atlanta.
I love, Sanya, how some of the Atlanta OGs are coming back around for this season. We have Kim and Cynthia and Deshawn and Lisa, like some like real like ghosts of Atlanta history. What was it like connecting with them? Did you have any fun with them? Did you get to know them any better?
So unfortunately, I didn't film with Lisa or Deshaun or Kim, but I did film quite a bit with Cynthia.
Okay.
And I love Cynthia. She is, everything that people think she is. She's just a warm spirit, and yeah, she was a lot of fun. So I didn't get to meet the other ladies though. I think Sheree had a couple of scenes with them, and some of the other ladies, the OGs that they actually knew prior, but I didn't get to hang out with them.
Do you feel Cynthia kind of now, like with divorce settled in LA, do you think she really enjoyed kind of coming back to her home of Atlanta to kind of like come back into 50 Cent of it all?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think, divorces are hard, and relationships endings, they're hard. And so I think whenever you can go back to something that feels familiar and fun and normal, I think it helps. And so she definitely was in her element when she was on the show with us. And I think honestly, I think she liked it, because when you're a friend of the show, you kind of can like dip in, dip out, stir a little drama, pop back out. And she did a fine job of that.
Is Cynthia starting drama?
Well, there is one little thing that happens that she's going to be a part of. So,
oh my God, I love that. Well, thinking about Cynthia thriving post-divorce, and then thinking about how Drew was kind of in the early stages of her divorce journey, how does the peripherality of divorces in your world, Sanya, impact you and Ross? Does it sort of make you take a step back and reflect? Do you just sort of shut it out? Like, how does it sort of impact you?
That's a really good question. You guys are killing it. And I appreciate the thoughtfulness around the questions. We 100% reflected. And I think the biggest mistake you can make is to feel like, oh, this can't happen to you. Like everybody else has flaws and they all have problems. We don't. And so, Ross and I are very intentional about our love and our marriage. And we don't take it lightly that there is this reality show marriage curse, and we want to survive it, So yeah, we were very reflective. Recently Ross and I just been traveling a lot together, spending more time together, and just trying to do the things that are important to really build a healthy marriage. And that's just, that's been my priority. So yeah, we don't zone it out. We don't act like it's not happening. We're very real. We talk about it, and we're intentional about, keeping our love strong and, keeping the flame, burning in our marriage.
I love to hear that. You guys are so cute together. And I love how supportive he is of you, Sanya. And I also love how like recently you've been sort of experimenting in different arenas. You're going to be the fashion and lifestyle reporter at the Kentucky Derby for NBC.
Yep.
That's a big deal. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I am. The Kentucky Derby is one of those like landmark American, sports shows. And so I'm excited. I did it once before. This is my second time going back, this time in a larger capacity, bigger role. So I'm just super excited to continue to do those things. I love hosting. I love television. So that's good. Oh, yeah, good things.
Hey, is the outfit planned? Because I know so much of Derby vibe is like, you have it all, the look is established.
Oh, yes. And I'll be doing multiple looks, darling. I'll be doing multiple looks, multiple changes.
Yes.
Wait, also your first confessional looks for this season, Sanya, have been so good. I'm normally like not a bangs guy, but your bangs are working for you. I loved it.
Yay. Thank you very much. Can I tell y'all how those bangs came about?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So we're in Portugal. And Marlo is like, hey friend, can you cover up that big ass forehead one of these days? Like, all I'm getting every day is that forehead. I said, you dirty bitch.
Oh my God, Marlo. That sounds very on brand for Marlo, though. Honestly, I can like hear her saying that.
Oh my God, forehead one time. I said, you know what? I've never thought about it, but I might try bangs one time.
Wait. Sanya, speaking of body parts, there is a moment in the trailer where it seems like you and Kenya kind of get into it about whether her butt is real or not. You're like, how am I supposed to know if your butt is real or not? What can you tease about that fight over Kenya's stallion booty?
So what had happened was Kenya is trying to find a reason to pick on me. And she's saying that when I was on Watch What Happens Live last year, Andy asked me if her butt was real. And I really don't know. Like, I don't. So I said, Andy, I don't know. Like, I don't know. So then she brings it up at the table, and I'm like, how am I supposed to know if your butt is real or not? Like, I still don't know. So then I started to ask the other girls to help. Like, where do
You're
we
phoning
land
a friend.
on this butt? I don't know. Yeah, phone a friend. So that is how that comes up again. I hope the butt doesn't come up anymore. I'm over Kenny's butt, but that's where how we got
I
there.
also love how that kind of encapsulates how you say her and Marlo just don't let things go.
Yes, exactly. Let it go, sis.
Yeah,
Let it
you
go.
gotta sing Frozen to them. Yeah.
Well, Sanya, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. This was such a joy, and we can't wait to see the rest of Atlanta season 15 play out. It seems like it's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be awesome. This is my favorite interview so far. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you, Sanya. We appreciate you.
And stay tuned because we have an exclusive interview with Kenya Moore on deck, and you're going to want to hear her be Gone with the Wind fabulous. Well, Real Housewives of Atlanta is back, and is there anybody better to kick off this new season with than Kenya Moore herself?
Woo!
The entrance!
Yes, the wave for the queen.
The Queen of Atlanta. Honestly, I feel you should have your own coronation for Atlanta.
Oh, that's sweet.
Because honestly, 11 seasons, right?
Yeah, well, 11, but I took one off. So technically 10, but
I didn't watch that one.
yes, you didn't watch it. A lot of people didn't.
But how does it feel coming back? I mean, you must be both so used to it, but then also, is there any energy going into this one that feels a little bit different at all?
Well, it's season 15, and it's like we deserve all of our flowers to make it to 15 seasons and still be like one of the top rated shows and to still be bringing the heat and all the shade. Honey, it is a great season.
And I love that you say that because I feel a lot of other franchises, the first episode of the season is kind of just an introduction of like, where is everybody?
No, we come out blazing.
55 fights.
55 fights. Yeah, we had a lot of
Were
fights.
you expecting, at that Sanya party, were you expecting it to kind of get as chaotic as we're seeing in the first episode it leads into?
Well, no, and this is what was odd about that. It was our first week of filming, and normally it's just like catching up and filming a lot with you and your family and things like that. And then Sanya planned this big bash, the first. I'm like, who does that? Who does a big, all cast the first week? And so we just came thinking we were just gonna go to a party, catch up with each other, and then all hell broke loose. So it was very amazing.
That actually makes me think, do you feel Sanya intentionally wanted to have a big bash to kick it off, or did it just so happen to be her husband's birthday?
No, it was her husband's birthday, for sure. Yeah, but the year prior, that birthday was very lackluster. It was not birthday partying. It was not giving.
So there was added pressure for this party, and I think she delivered. You even said that.
She delivered. It was amazing. Like, it's one of the best all-cast parties we've ever had.
And I feel everybody brought a gift, which was some shade.
Yes.
Who do you think from the first episode you were like, oh, they're really off to the races?
I mean, there are people that try really hard, and unfortunately, I don't really care for people that like really just try. It has to be organic. So there's some newbies that, like really don't do it for me.
Courtney?
I'm not sure who you're talking about, but possibly.
You're like, who is that?
Just too much, girl. Just pull back.
Yeah.
You can't manufacture drama. It just has to be.
And I was almost shocked with that moment because usually we see it takes a little bit to get Candy really activated.
Yes.
And then I was almost shocked that I was like, oh wait, this girl who I just met 15 minutes ago went right.
5 seconds,
Yeah.
like right after her and after drama. And it's like, they do that. I think newbies that are trying to get a peach, they feel like they have to do too much. And that really isn't what makes a housewife. I think what makes a housewife is that you just have organic conflict and your reactions are organic. And so,
And that's why it's kind of funny that she was, because I was like, Atlanta, there's so much organic conflict.
yes, there is. It already naturally exists.
And sometimes the seeds grow in the DMs.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes they do.
How was that? Because obviously you and Sheree get into a little altercation with her man this first episode.
Well, I don't get into an altercation with Sheree. It's more so her man or her current situationship. So I
He
just
by
feel-
Sheree?
Yeah, he by Sheree. But that's a good one. And, I am in a really great place with Sheree, and so I didn't foresee any of that coming, but I knew she was dating Montel Jordan. Which one is it? The bald head one with the peanut head
Mr. Peanut.
chocolate thing going on. But anyway, we had a sort of like little texting a while ago, which meant nothing to me, but I felt like, you know what, maybe I should tell her this just because I don't want to feel like I'm keeping something from my really good friend.
And also, we've seen her be hurt before
Yes.
by men that,
Yes.
and because like I feel everybody, even the entire cast, is rooting for her to be happy.
Yes.
And find a good person. Do you
Yes.
feel this is a good person for her, or?
I feel I want to leave that judgment for Sheree.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep my opinion to myself for now.
Well, I want to talk to you about some love because you were opening up in a recent interview about how you're kind of ready to look for a relationship. And
well, at least, seriously dating, like dating, not necessarily one person, but multiple people, have a team, have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe you're
A
off
roster.
Thursday and Friday, just like a starting team, you're just all-stars, you're pros,
okay, and someone who's on the bench, you're like, okay, you can come in now.
Some people might be on the bench and get, an all-star might get, demoted. So
true.
you just never know. I'm
You're-
looking for that kind of, really, to be quite honest, I'm like not good at this. I'm not good at dating, but I feel like I just need to go out. Just start with not trying to be serious with anyone and just trying to find out what's out there now.
I also love that you taught me so much about sports because I'm like, okay, all stars are what? I'm like housewives are my sports, so you're giving me tips.
All-stars, pros, yeah.
Well, in the first episode, there was a little glimpse of a companion.
Okay.
Roy, the companion, right?
I'm not sure.
There's a photo. Oh, so he's not on the team.
Well, we don't talk about that. You have to watch the show
okay.
to see.
But I did like that you recently said you're on dating apps, right?
I am on a dating app. Yes.
How's that going? It's not fun.
It's
Is it fun?
actually not bad. I mean, it's like I'm on there like once a week and I look and then I have like 5 minutes to look. And it's some interesting prospects there.
If any suitors are looking into this, do you like to send the first message or do you like to be?
I never send a first message. Yeah, no. I'm old school. I'm old school. I like to be wooed. I like for a gentleman to be a gentleman. I like my car doors open for me. I like for a man to plan dates. I like for him to just know it's worth waiting for. Just get to know each other. I'm not just for a hookup, I'm not a hookup girl.
I like that. And I obviously, everyone was sort of shocked with the news with Drew and Ralph. And one of the first things I thought of was that I'm glad she has a friend like you because you have unfortunately gone through a public divorce and all of that. Has she been like kind of leaning on you a little bit extra through all of this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we have a lot in common in terms of that. We both, I feel like we're married to the same man. And as much as I was rooting for them, my heart was broken when I heard the news and I was like, oh, in your back of your mind, you think, is there any way you guys can work this out? You've gone through all of this counseling. You have 3 beautiful children between the 2 of them. And you just feel like, is there a possibility to just try one more time? But if it is the end, I just, I'm there for her, giving her whatever advice she needs. If it's just a shoulder to cry on, or if it's just somebody to go, get a drink with, So yeah,
And
I really feel for her right now. She's a good person, and I think that she really tries hard to be a good wife. And she deserves all this respect in the world.
And I feel it's also going to be extra hard for her rewatching and reliving this upcoming season, because even in the first episode when you were I feel the only one really to call out, it's like, she's home with family stuff.
Yeah.
But he put on his party suit.
Yeah. I always catch the BS. I always speak on it, but I never miss the BS, So for me, I was like, that's a bit odd. Your wife needs you, but you found it more necessary to come to a party.
A very weird vibe, I would say. Yeah, not something I would expect.
Little red flag.
Yes. What I did expect, though, is Marlo to get a little messy in the first episode.
Okay.
And it seems like, because she was watching the Courtney Who You Don't Know and Candy kind of just like eavesdropping into that feud. It almost seems like she has Candy targeted from the first episode as like someone she wants to.
Absolutely. You know, she's always had it out for myself and Candy.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed. You know, we're the stars of the show, so it's like, go after the big dogs. So, you know, to get some street cred, to get a storyline. So that is what it is.
You two are big dogs to go after, though, because I mean, do you think she's ready for the retaliation?
No one is ever ready for this. No one's ever ready for this level shade. Never. You can't prepare for this.
No matter how many preparations, prayers, nothing can get you ready.
Yeah, no.
And I feel like you also, like, you in your head, I feel like you almost are like the Library of Congress, where you have like 9,000 things to say. Where you're like, I won't open that vault if you're nice to me.
Not Library of Congress.
Oh, say, can you, Kenya?
No, I mean, I'm just, you know, I remember a lot. I don't remember what I ate this morning, but I can remember things about what people said and did to me for some odd reason.
That's crucial, and it's why you're such an iconic housewife.
Thank you.
And what makes me so happy, too, is that we see Cynthia make some returns this season.
We love Cynthia.
And I love hearing you say that because, of course, on Ultimate Girls Trip, you guys had, it was a tumultuous time.
Yes.
But you two are really like in a much better place
I
now.
didn't know at the time she was having issues in her marriage, and it was like she needed me. I didn't know, and now it all makes sense that we know all the facts, and I just know that I have my sister back, and nothing is ever going to change that.
I know. I feel all Atlanta fans were so happy because, of course, after seeing her have her marriage, but then go through the drama, it's like, oh, she's coming home. It feels like a return to home for her.
Yeah, she's happy. You know, she's living her best life now. She looks better than ever. And I think she's going to be okay.
Are you, her, and Drew all going on? Are you all on dating apps? Are you going to do like triple dates or no?
Well, Drew's not ready
That's
for
true,
sure.
but
maybe Cynthia and I'm not sure if she's on an app, but yeah.
Okay. And we talked to Sanya last week, and she said that your guys' trip to Portugal gets a little crazy. Yeah. And she said there's a fight that she was not even expecting to happen that went down. Do you think you know what she's talking about?
I always know what everyone's talking about. You know, I think that's the great thing about this season. There are a lot of twists and turns that you just never see coming. And there are a lot of this one versus that one that you never saw coming. So it makes it fresh, and it feels like, you know, that part is new. And I think that's what our show does. It just keeps giving and giving. It's the show that never stops giving.
It never stops. And it gives so many good moments. So the final game I want to play with you. I want to play a little game.
Okay.
Because when I think of your name, almost every single time I go, Kenya Moore,
hair care.
Yes. So I want to do a little game called Hair Care or Couldn't Care. So I'm going to give you some things, and I want to see if you hair care, if you're kind of activated and feel a certain way about it, or if you're like, I don't even, you know? Okay.
Couldn't care.
So Marlo recently said you use her for a storyline.
Okay, we know that's silly. I mean, she just is a silly person. She just says all kind of stuff just for attention. Okay. But so couldn't care.
Couldn't care.
Yeah, couldn't care.
Sanya, in the teaser for this upcoming episode or upcoming season.
The day I need her for a storyline is the day that the show is over. Sorry, had to say it. When have I ever needed anyone for a storyline?
Never.
Like anyone ever.
You're Gone with the Wind fabulous.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Just wanted to clear that up. Just wanted to make that known.
I like that. And good to know. So we know the second that happens, we're like, oh, it's been a great show.
Right. It's been a great run.
Oh, come on. So in the teaser for this upcoming season, Sanya questions your butt.
Oh, yeah. She needs to question her. She doesn't have one. Next question. More squats. Just more squats.
Martell getting involved in the drama from the jump. Do you feel that it's kind of like he cares about Sheree, or you care so much about yourself?
I think what you think about that. I think some people like to be on TV.
Really?
Some people like to be on TV.
Like to be on TV, have a little moment.
Yeah, some people like a moment.
They had a really, their little OnlyFans tease, not tease, was really a lot in the first episode.
It was, zooming in on the crotch area. That was a lot. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm like, what time is it? It should be after midnight, after hours TV.
We talked about it a little bit, but Courtney going around apparently saying that she's like friends with Candy and kind of having this like pre-start drama.
You're telling all about the first episode.
This comes out after the first episode.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
That's why they already saw the first episode.
Okay, well, that's what they were arguing about, so
Yeah.
they didn't. Okay, so I missed that part.
So what do you think? Do you think could you so her kind of going right after Candy from the start with like, this is what I feel about you right at the
Thirsty.
beginning. Thirsty.
Yeah, very thirsty. Yeah, when you are, you just are. You don't have to try, and it's giving trying. It's giving trying too hard.
And it did make me laugh because I made a mental note. I was like, okay, if I wave, I can't say I'm friends with Candy even though she's my friend in my head.
Yeah. Hi. Oh, no, we're best friends. One day we're going to go out. We're going to braid each other's hair. We're going to have sleepovers. Oh, we're just so close. Some people are quite delusional.
And Candy's like, who is that?
Yeah, exactly. Who are you and why are you talking to me? That's what it's giving.
The final question, because obviously with two T's in a pod, Tamara and Teddy make a lot of drama. And
Wait, who?
Tamara and Teddy, the two T's in a pod.
Tamara and Teddy. Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. You speak. Okay,
I
got
speak.
it.
I had 3 cups
Tamara
of
and
coffee
Teddy.
today.
That is it. I'm like, wait, slow down.
So,
Okay, Tamara and Teddy.
so Tamara and Teddy on two T's in a pod. They had Ramona on, and she
Yes.
said you were really mean to her.
We all know she's the queen of delusion. She's very delusional. We all saw it play out exactly how it was. So that's not true.
Okay, I love to hear
Yeah.
that. And I mean, the main thing that I'm so happy about is that you and Cynthia from that trip are back, and
Yeah.
that
That feels good.
it feels good, and also it just feels great that the queen is back on our TV.
Yay.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet.